Alright, let me show you what I'm doing here while I've got it apart and everything. I'm going to use, if you remember from the other video, I'm going to use this angle iron. And what I'm going to do with that angle iron is going to sit right on there. And that's going to support the stereo console. So what I've done is I've very carefully cut a groove here. So as you can see right here, it's a channel that it can slide into. So what I'll do is I'll run the screws. You can see the screw holes. So one there, and also on this side I'll drill the holes to match. And then all the weight of the stereo console, if you look at this wood, you can see a slight dip in it. And over the years, the weight of the console itself has caused the legs to kind of warp. So what I'm doing is I'm adding this steel angle iron, and what that'll do is that'll keep it from warping. It'll pull all this wood back straight, and it'll place the weight of the stereo right on the legs where it should be, and smooth and even all the way down. So what I'm doing now is I made the first cut, had to be really careful not to hit this edge, so I had to get it very close, and you really got to be careful. It's kind of like a puzzle to figure out how to do it. Then what I did is I came back and I made a second cut farther out. I made the first cut close, and then the second cut farther out. I could have cut it out just a little bit farther just to be safe, to not hit this side, but it worked out anyway. I mean, I've done that kind of stuff before. If you're doing it for the first time, you might want to back it away a little bit, but you can see I left just a slight amount of room, so I didn't want to mess this up because this is going to show a little bit. So anyway, I've got two more of these to do, or yeah, I believe two more, and then I'll be ready to match the holes up and drill the holes for this angle iron. You can see I wrote, these are just telling me what corner is what, so when I drill these out, I'm not trying to figure out what goes where, because the quality on pretty much anything, but these stereo consoles, when they started getting into the mid to late 60s, the quality on them kind of went down a little bit and into the 70s. So things were just kind of they started just slapping stuff together, and so it's the same thing with all these legs. I had to measure how far for each leg, because none of them were really the same, so I had to be really careful. This was uneven, and since the stereo, the console's bottom is going to be sitting on this kind of stuff, and this angle iron, the angle iron here, I had to sand this down a little bit right at this edge so the angle iron would sit flat. I wanted it all to be pulled up flat and sit flat. And then what I did, I showed you the other day, that I'd put some, let's see if we can see it here. Yeah, you can just see the little shims that I had glued. I had cut some pieces of oak, glued it on there, because some of these were up high, and some were down low. So the ones that were down low, I glued the shims to, and then I came back with the sander, belt sander, and just very carefully I got down on my knees, and just watched, and that takes a little practice, but I've done that kind of stuff before. If you're new at it, it takes a little practice, but I sanded it with the belt sander, and just kind of got it even. Of course I used this to set it on there, to make sure that it was kind of flat, and you can kind of play with the belt sander a little. You go slow and you keep hitting it down, and you try to get it as level as possible. You're not going to get it perfect, but enough that this metal will kind of sit along here and here, and at least it's not hitting any high spots. If I put all the weight right here, it would put pressure on the joint. So by shifting the weight of the stereo console on the legs, it still has pressure on the joint, but If I put a little screw here and screw it into there, you know, just to kind of hold it all together. I may not have to put any. If I notice it's pulling apart, because I don't trust my gluing, I'll go ahead and put, you know, some little bracket hidden on the inside or under here to hold it a little better. But anyway, that's what I'm doing right now. And I got all my measuring tools and everything. And I got the table saw. But I've got 2 more outside ones to do, so those will be easier. Or here we go. Yeah, 2 more outside ones. You can see the first cut's thin. And then, of course, when I did the first cut on one side, I pushed it through the least amount I had to, because I didn't want the blade, you know, coming out. The less that I allowed the blade to come out this way as I was cutting it, because I cut it from this side, pushed it through on this side, the less of a chance I would get some scrape marks, because once you start scraping that up, you're pretty much done as far as trying. You're going to have to figure out a whole other thing to hide it. But anyway, came out good. I got lucky. And that's about it.